Hello everyone, Christina here. Welcome to another, got a weird hair here. Welcome back to another live stream here at my YouTube channel. It has been a hot minute since I've gone live. And just to recap, in case any of you missed mail call a couple weeks ago, pardon me, I got really sick with food poisoning, the bad kind, where the state health department calls you and makes sure that you weren't eating somewhere where it could spread. They want to make sure where it was from. Unfortunately, I cannot pinpoint exactly where it was that I picked it up, although I do know that it was when I was traveling in Europe. This particular bacteria that I had could stay in your system for up to 10 days before you have symptoms. So that is a wide variety of places where we ate. Disneyland Paris, Bulgaria. It was, anyway, I have no idea where it came from, but it hit me hard, and I'm diabetic, so it was especially hard. And now I'm feeling much better. That is the reason why the holiday card series has not started, but don't worry, it will be starting this Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. I'm going to start with day 1, and I'm going to do 12 days this year. So it'll be Monday, Wednesday, Friday through, I think, the Monday before Christmas. So it'll be nice and festive for us all. Hello over in the chat. Marcia, like I said, I don't know what it was. I have no idea what it was. This particular bacteria usually comes from poultry, but it could be anything that was near poultry, or it could have been contaminated by, something that was near poultry. So, no clue exactly what it was. I'm just putting some lotion on my hands because they're super dry before I start crafting. And then the lotion will have time to soak in. Okay, so tonight's craft, I did not get enough lotion. Tonight's crafting is, I'm going to play with a few of the things from my November release. This is the first time I've really played with these because I just saw Betsy in the chat here. Betsy, she threw a Hail Mary for me. I was so sick, I was unable to create the cards that I had mocked up using the release. So Betsy happened to receive my release early, and she texted me and she's like, "This is awesome, I love it." And I was like, "Wait, you have it? I can hardly get out of bed. Can you make these cards if I send you the mock-ups, the digital mock-ups, what I had planned to create?" And she said, "Absolutely, I got you, girl." So big, huge thanks to Betsy. She really helped me out. Yeah, Betsy's an amazing crafter. And I'm happy that she was willing to just create what I had designed. She's a great card designer in her own right. She can come up with her own designs and ideas, but she took what was in my head and created it. So big thank you to Betsy. Okay, so I'm going to be using products from my November release. Let's get a quick look at what I am planning to use. Oh, got to put my ring back on after putting lotion on. Also, this is fading henna that I got when I was in Disney World last week. I was feeling just well enough to go on the trip that I had planned for a year. And I mean, it was iffy if I was going to go at all. Up until a few days before the trip, I was talking with Jennifer and Greg, my two friends that I was going with, and we were like, should we go? I don't know. I got a wheelchair. I rented a wheelchair because I just didn't know if I'd have the energy to walk around Disney, but it worked out just fine and we were great. So anyway, that's the henna. It's half a heart, and then Jennifer got one on her hand that completes it. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but yeah, it's really cute. Mine's fading quite a bit. I think it'll probably be gone by the week's end. So, okay, so the products I'm going to use. I'm going to use, for one thing, I'm going to use the Easy Repeat Stitch Vines background. I wanted to show how easy it is to actually do the repeat with this stamp. You can actually repeat it up here. So if you want to put it on a 5x7 card base and have it go edge to edge, you absolutely can. So I'm going to show that today. I thought I'd do some Distress Reinker watercolor And I'm going to have to grab water from the sink down the hall because the sink in my craft room is out of commission right now. Here's another update. My craft room currently is in a loft. And there are 2 entryways into my craft room. There's no doors. And we have been unable to release the cats into the house by themselves, Fred and Kevin. They're just over a year old. They get into everything. I don't trust them in my craft room yet. So, and also it really bothers me that like, if you're coming upstairs, you have to walk through my craft room to get to bedrooms. So that's kind of what's bothered me. I dealt with it. It was not a big deal, but we came up with a plan where we could take a little space from the hall bathroom and add a hallway right there and close off my craft room. I'm so excited. The door frames are framed in, everything, the hallway has been created. We're just waiting on drywall. But in the meantime, they had to reroute the plumbing for my craft room sink. And so that's almost ready to go, but it's not quite hooked up yet. So I can't use that sink. So I'm going to have to run down the hall and get water down there. But I'm going to do Distress Reinker watercolor. I thought this would be really fun for some resist. And then I thought I'd pair these 2 products together because even though they're not sold as a bundle, I didn't like put them together. When I was designing these hearts, I was specifically thinking of putting some of these greetings in the middle of the heart itself. So I thought I would pair those tonight. And I've got the dies back here, which I don't know if you guys saw, but on my dies now that go with a greeting, on the packaging, I'm now putting the phrase. So it's super easy to pair it up. That was a good suggestion from my friend Tina. We were at a craft day retreat. She's like, you know what you should do? I always have trouble matching these up. You should just put the phrase in the middle. And I was like, brilliant. Such a good suggestion from Tina. Okay, so we need to figure out what colors we're going to use for this background. So I thought I would break out one of the new Sarah Renee Clark color cubes. This is, let's see, what number is this? This is number 3. I still have the sticker on it. So she has redone her color cubes. You've probably seen Jennifer McGuire talk about it. It's pretty brilliant the way that she's done it. And I used the old color cubes. There were 2 of them. I think it was like over a year ago. I did a whole month of videos using color combinations from the color cubes of 1 or 2. And I absolutely loved it. So I thought I would break out one of the new color cubes. She's actually redone the first 2 as well. She's replaced some of the color palettes, kind of fine-tuned it. So if you have the first 2 color cubes, you don't necessarily need to repurchase them. I think they're just as useful. But if you have full set syndrome, like I do, I decided to just buy all 4 of the new format. So this is the 2nd edition. Got it linked down below in the video description. Actually, it's at the link. You've got to click the very first line in the video description says for visual supply list. Click that and you'll come up with a link to this. Anyway, I thought I would just pick out some fun color palettes. Yeah, let's zoom in. I thought I'd just narrow it down to 3 and then we do a couple polls in the chat. I am really gravitating toward this one right here. This section is Breathtaking Sunsets. No wonder I love it. 502. So it's right here. Stop it. That's gorgeous. I love that. Ooh, such good colors, right? Okay, so there's one. Let's go to the next section. This one is Coastal Views. Okay, so we've got some nice blues. All of the greetings and the stamps are very encouraging. So something with like soothing blues I think would be really, really pretty. So, but it's going to be kind of watercolory. So I want to have some other color element in there. So maybe, this one is really monochromatic, but I'm really drawn to it. 535. Let's try that. Oh, that's so pretty. Just teals and sandy beaches. Okay, I'm going to go to the next section and just we'll pick one out. So this one is floral arrangements. This will be some good colors. Okay. Let's see. Maybe something bright and cheerful, or even kind of dusty, like that one right there is kind of pretty. What is that? 553. Okay. Let me find this one. Okay, that's really pretty. What a great arrangement. All right, I'm going to put these aside. And now we are going to take a vote. All right, let me put these into the poll in the chat. So we've got 502. I'm about to post the poll. Don't like type in your vote. And, okay, 535 and 553 close, so just be careful. Okay, so the poll has started. You guys let me know which is your favorite. Remember, this is going to be watercolored with some resist. And then, yeah, so we'll narrow it down to like the top two, and then we'll do another vote. All right. I'm seeing what's in the lead. Ooh, 535 and 553 are kind of neck and neck. This one might be pulling ahead a little bit. I'm going to let it go for just a minute or two, or a little bit more, see how many more votes we can get in. For those of you who are just joining, we are voting on which color combo to use tonight for a little bit of watercoloring. Okay. All right. I'm going to, oh my word, they're almost neck and neck, but 535 and 553 are the top two. So I'm going to take this one away. All right. And now we're going to have another poll. And you're going to choose between 535 and 553. All right, so now tell me, out of these two, which color combo should I use? Hopefully all of you are able to take part in the poll. I know if you're watching on a TV, I don't think you can do that. But if you need to, you could pull it up on your mobile device. Oh, it's so close. It's still kind of close. 553 might be pulling ahead. And I'm thinking, okay, well, this is kind of just a lighter version of that. But then there's kind of this dusty red. I think there's a distressed color that's kind of similar. And then this is kind of just a really light version of that. So really, I just need 1, 2, 3, 4. I just need those 4 colors if that's the one. I think that's going to be the one that pulls ahead. It's very close. It's like 52% and 48. But I think I'm going to go ahead and do this one. All right, let's end the poll there. This is our color palette for today. All right, so I'm going to step away from my desk here for a moment. I'm going to go gather supplies, and I'll just let you look at these products here. Maybe think about what type of greeting you want me to use. Okay, I'm gonna go pull some colors. Oh, I need to take this with me. Haha, just kidding, I'm taking this with me. Okay. So I'm looking at my Distress Reinkers. That purple is definitely like a dusty Concord. The red is kind of like a, it's kind of dusty a little bit. Maybe like a fired brick. I think a fired brick. Fired brick might almost be a little too intense, but that's okay. Okay, this like orangey color. I'm going to go with Spiced Marmalade. That might not be quite the right color, but I think it'll be close enough. And then this kind of dusty green. Gosh. It's kind of like Evergreen Bough, but a little bit darker. I think maybe like a Pine Needles is probably the vibe I'm going for. Pine Needles and Bundled Sage. That is kind of a really weird combo, but I think I'm going to go with that. Okay, So I think this is like the vibes. I think that's the vibes, right? Okay, I'm gonna grab my water bucket and I've got to go to the sink down the hall. Unfortunately, I'm so sad I don't have my craft room sink. That's okay. I'll just go to the bathroom. Oh! The plumbing was obviously turned off and then back on. It's like got water in the, or air in the water line. Okay. All right. Getting some water here. All right, and just because I don't want to worry about, well, actually, maybe I do want to do my stamping first. I could do my stamping and heat embossing and then do all my painting over the top. That always gives you some really fun kind of drying spots. So I think I do want to do my stamping first. Okay, got my water though. It's prepped and ready to go. All right, let's do our stamping. Use my 5x7 watercolor paper from Fabriano. It's not quite like perfectly 5x7, so I'll probably end up cutting it down a little bit, but I think it's gonna be great. Okay. And now I'm gonna go to my Misty. Now I find it easier to stamp this edge to edge when it's got something kind of stuck to, and the watercolor paper doesn't want to stick to this. So I'm gonna grab like a stamp and stencil mat because it's much more sticky. At least I think it'll be much more sticky, because I really want to hold that in place so that I can stamp a few times. Okay, I'm using my anti-static powder tool. Well, just kidding. We're going to get our stamp on here first. So this is the Easy Repeat Stitch Vines background. And as you can see, the design does not span the entire length of my watercolor paper. So I'm going to have to stamp a little bit off and then a little bit off, and you'll see how that goes. Let's see. Someone was asking about what am I using for the pink. I'm actually just going to make sure I use a lot of water with the fired brick, and that'll kind of lighten down to a pink. The mic is really loud. Let me turn it down. My mic is closer to my mouth today. Hold on. What was really loud? The water? You know, the static that we were talking about, I think it's when the microphone rubs against something. Hold on, let me move this over. I'm trying to get into a spot where it won't rub against anything. I was almost convinced I needed a new mic. And then when I listened back to the footage, I was like, no, I think that's when I like rub against it. Okay, let me know if that's better. It's still crackling? Like all the time? Like I'm not even moving. Is it crackling now? That is so weird. Wait, when I'm saying I'm not even moving, is it still making that sound? I'm trying to not move at all. And we'll see. Okay. All right. I'm hoping that in that spot it won't be bothered. Okay. So I'm going to have the stamp hanging out of the Misty. Hold on. I'm going to adjust the volume again. Okay. I'll still be able to stamp all the way down to the bottom, but I want to like have that continuous pattern. Okay. Now I'm going to do anti-static powder. I don't want to have to move my paper. So I'm going to just do the powder everywhere. And I'm going to do, gosh, it'd be easier if I did it in like a colored pigment ink. But all I have is white. That won't really work, will it? Huh. I guess I could, I'm going to do it in gold. I guess I could try stamping in the Lisa Horton premium dye-based metallic pigment ink. Let's try it. We'll just see. I have no idea how well this will stamp. I've only ever ink blended with it. I don't think I've ever stamped with it. But I'm hoping it'll make it so that I can see where the stamping is. So I know if I've stamped my entire pattern. And I really hope it stays wet enough that, okay, so it's close. I just need a little more, especially on that heart. Okay. Okay, that's better. So I want to get this bottom edge. It doesn't want to grab the design there. Okay. I'm going to quickly clean off my stamp because I'm going to move it and stamp above. I'm really hoping it doesn't dry so fast. You know what? I'm afraid it might. I'm going to pull this up. I didn't want to have to move it, but I think I'm going to have to. So I'm going to peel this up. And I have my heat embossing powder right here. Trying to keep it away from my sticky mat. We'll see if it works. Oh, that worked great. Look at that. If you're going to use gold embossing powder, you might as well use a gold ink, I guess. All right. Just getting the embossing powder on this last little corner. Okay, that looks fantastic, actually. I'm really surprised. Okay, so this is my heat tool. Okay, I'm just getting my heat tool kind of warmed up. And then I'm just watching for when the powder melts. You don't want to heat it too long because the powder can melt right back into that watercolor paper. Okay. Donna's asking, what are all these henna tattoos? Well, Jennifer McGuire and I, we were at Disney together last week. What day was that? Tuesday, I think. And we got matching henna tattoos. Like hers is the other half of the heart. I decided it was the equivalent of friendship necklaces. Like those heart necklaces where it's two hearts and they break apart and each friend has half of the heart. I had that necklace with my best friend growing up. Okay, just finishing cleaning this off a little bit because I am going to have to position it. In fact, I think to help me position it without it getting ink on that area where I don't want it, I'm just going to take this placement guide, a transparency placement guide from Simon Says Stamp, and I'm going to have that protect my project while I place the stamp over here. Okay, so here's where the stamp was. I'm just going to go straight above. You can kind of see how it continues that pattern. So I'm just kind of placing it. In fact, I can place it on this transparency sheet and then kind of move it around a little. I think I'll do that. Like I'll place it on it and then then I can slide it around until it's in the right exact spot that I need. Excuse my head. I'm gonna have to move this down a little bit. I want to make sure I'm getting it lined up just right. Like really take your time with this. I mean, there's no rush. You know what? I can't see it through the transparency thing. I'm gonna have to go straight down to the project because I can't see it. Okay, I think that's about as close as I'm gonna get it. All right. Use my anti-static powder tool over all of that. Oh no, this is sliding around. Is it still in the right spot? Yes, okay. I'm gonna come down here and do that, make sure it doesn't slide around. Oh, Dorothy, thank you so much. Dorothy says, I wanted to tell you, Jennifer, that the online class for Christmas 2025 was the absolute best class yet. Wow, what a deal. That's so sweet. Thank you for letting me know. We worked really hard on that. In fact, I had hoped to even have even more cards for the class, but of course, being sick derailed that. But we were still able to pull the class off, and it was fantastic, especially with all of the guest artists, and it worked out really well. Oh, I do have a stamp oil for this. I just wanted to show how you could do it with a MISTI. Okay. Oh, see, that pattern lines up perfectly. I love it. I'm going to stamp it one more time just to make sure I have all of those areas. Using this gold pigment ink is working out really well. Okay, so now I can peel this up. I'm going to set this off to the side. And I'll grab my gold embossing powder once again. And we'll just sprinkle this on. That just finishes off that pattern beautifully. That pigment ink stamped so sharply and finely. I love it. Oh, I just put my finger on that. Dang it. Okay. And I just got embossing powder everywhere. Okay, this is my heat tool. Try to make sure everything's melted. Okay, all right. So do you see where the repeat is? Like this little stem here, it's up here as well. So it has that repeat going all the way up. Okay, now let's do some watercoloring. I am gonna, trim this down just a little bit. So, oh, my masking tape has walked off. I think my husband was using it when he was cutting subfloor. for the new hallway. Where's my masking tape? It is wandered off. I think I have some in another room. Huh. All right. Well, I have a backup. That was like an entire roll of masking tape. Sometimes my husband listens to my lives. There it is. Found it. It was hiding. Okay. So let's just tape this down. I am planning to trim it down just a little bit, so I'm not too worried about the paint or the ink not going all the way to the edge. So we'll be okay. Oh, thank you. So many of you are saying you love this background stamp. I love it too. I designed it quite a few months ago and I just couldn't figure exactly what I wanted to do with it. And then I was like, I think it needs to be a repeating pattern and it needs to be an easy repeat. So I'm glad it found a place in a release. Okay. So here's a plastic palette that I'm going to be using. And I actually have a couple of Reinkers that I need to open before I do anything else. I hate opening these. I'm like, where's the... I'm almost afraid I'm gonna like stab myself. Okay, that wasn't so bad. That's bundled sage. I've never had to re-ink it. Oh, I've got 3 re-inkers to open. Okay, and then spiced marmalade. Now, I'm using re-inkers for my watercolor today, but you definitely can just use your ink pads, like your Distress ink pads, or even the Distress Oxide ink pads. All you have to do is smush them onto a slick surface like what I'm using today. But I like to use the reinkers because it's just much more concentrated and I could like really get to that intense color quickly. Okay. To remind ourselves, this is the color palette. Maybe I'll just put that over there to remind us. You know what? I totally did not even clean my stamp. Hold on. Pause. I didn't clean my stamp. I don't want the pigment ink to dry on it. Okay, hold on. You go up here. That stamp is right at the edge of the misty door, isn't it? Okay. I just saw the acetate from the stamp and I was like, oh, my stamp is still in my misty. Let's fix that. Okay. Okay. The stamp did discolor, or the ink did discolor the stamp a little bit, but that's okay. Just well-loved stamp, that's all. Okay, back to the watercoloring. So I'm gonna just put them on the palette in the same order that's over here. So I'm gonna start with Dusty Concord. I'm gonna give it a little shake. Lisa is asking if this particular technique that I'm going to be doing, if it only works with Distress ink. No, it generally works with all inks and like dye inks. You can do this with all dye inks. I just find that I love the color palette with Distress. And it just works so well. All right, so that was Fired Brick, Dusty Concord, Fired Brick, followed by Spiced Marmalade. That'll give us a little bit of a brightness. And then we have bundled sage. I'll just put that right there. Very dark for such a light color. And then pine needles. Okay. So I generally like to start with spraying my entire watercolor background. I'm going to move this out of the way so it doesn't get wet for just a moment here. You could use a big brush to do that, but I also like to just, you could see how much water is on that now. It's like dripping off, which reminds me, I need a paper towel. That is another thing that my husband stole when he was doing construction. But don't you worry, I know where a paper towel is right now. I just have to open up a new pack. There we go. At least he warned me on this one though. He's like, you're gonna need more paper towels. Because he just used them all. Okay. Alrighty. Let that absorb into the paper a little bit, so that's good. All right, let's find a nice big brush. I'm using a size 14 round brush. And I think I'm gonna go into that fired brick first because I want to make sure I have some pink areas. So why don't I just come in right here. And then I'm going to kind of go to that spiced marmalade. Just a couple instances. I want to make sure I have some white areas. Okay, let's do a little bit of that dusty Concord. These are going to be very fall colors, right? That purple's kind of turning almost a little brown down there, so I'm going to add a little more purple. Trying to retain some of that white, so I'm going to only add a little bit of the bundled sage. Add a little bit of that forest moss. Is that what this is? No, pine needles. Okay. It might be too many colors. We'll see. All right, this is when whoa, let's catch this first. There's a lot of water right there. Okay. I'm gonna tip it. Get those colors kind of bleeding a little bit. I like that they're kind of following the lines of the stamp. That's kind of fun. All right, then I'm going to tip it this way. It's following all the vines. That's fun. It's much more intense than the kind of dusty colors from the color combo inspiration, but I don't mind it. All right, let's tip it this direction a little bit. I'm getting kind of mud right here, and it's probably becoming like that color because of the red into the green. Those colors are notorious for creating brown. Just kind of dabbing up some of the color with the corner of my paper towel. Okay, let's tip that a little bit. Yes, it's much more vibrant than I had imagined, but it's still a little bit of that color combo. I want some more green on here. Call me crazy. I think there needs to be another instance of this pine needles. So I'm going to come up here and just add a little bit of green. Add a little water to maybe get that moving. Just want like a little hint of that green up there. And then I think I'm going to take some more of that fired brick and just get that intensity right down here, just to get rid of that brown a little bit. Okay. Tip that a little bit. I'm tempted to spray this with a spray bottle just to get the colors moving a little bit more, but also as it dries, it will dry back just a little bit too. Like it won't be quite as intense. Okay. Tempted to hit this with my heat tool. I think I'll have to speed up the drying process. This is kind of psychedelic. What is happening? I love this right here where it's got this bright white coming through. I think it looks really cool. There's a lot of colors here. Okay. I'm going to keep my heat tool. I'm going to keep my heat tool moving because I don't want to remelt that embossing powder. But this is also going to stop the colors from mixing anymore. I do like that some of the pink that we were going for came through. Almost dry. Okay. Oh, Gina, that's so sweet. Thank you. Gina says, my Douglas wanted to know that they're so glad Monday Night Lives with Christina's are back. That's cute. Okay, so this is dry. So let's peel up all the tape. Make sure I get that over to my garbage without getting all the ink on me. Now these colors, while inspired by the Color Cube combo, kind of don't look anything like it because they're way too vibrant and saturated. But here you go. You could, I mean, I guess you could sort of see where it was going. I didn't have quite the right green. I think if I would have had a little bit of a better green, I probably could have mixed one, but that's okay. I think the purple and the red are pretty spot on. Although the red up here is a little more purpley. There's not as much orange as I thought that would come through, but it's not bad. I mean, I don't hate it, right? Okay, so let's finish up this card with some stamping. A little bit of die cutting. Okay. And I'll have to update the supply list with the colors I used and everything later. All right, I'm going to go dump this water before I spill it. It's a little crazy. It's a little dark. There's a lot of ink in it. It's a really gross green color. Okay. All right, now we'll come back and we'll do some die cutting and get this ready to go on a card. Okay. So I am going to trim this down to be a little bit smaller. I'm kind of thinking maybe I'll cut it down to like the size of this A2 frame. Maybe even the smaller one. But I also need to make sure that my little heart, yeah, like that. I also want to make sure that my heart die that I'm going to be using is kind of the right size. So, like for how big the actual piece is. You know what I'm saying? Okay, that's a pretty good size. If I do the bigger one, is that too? It's kind of close. Okay, I could use the smaller one. Smaller one is fine. Okay. Lifting some stuff off my die cutting machine. I'm thinking I might even want to do like a gold heat embossed edge once I have this die cut down. And this is a lot of that red. I'm thinking I want to cut some of that off, but I really don't want to lose that up there because it's so pretty. So maybe I'll kind of turn it a little. Maybe I'll turn it just like that. And it'll get kind of those nice spots. And then the heart, it'll go right there. It'll kind of break up that big red area. Pretty. I like that. And I actually have the little frame if I wanted to do that too. But really, I think I want the frame to be cut out of gold. Actually, this scrap over here, I think it's the right size. Nice. I was either going to do the gold or I could do like a heat embossed edge. I think I like the idea of the frame. So maybe we'll just use the frame. I like that idea. Okay. And then let's figure out our grading. Okay, so we have a heart that we can cut out. That could go right there. I'm not entirely sure what color of cardstock it will be. Maybe it'll just be white. I don't entirely know. I'm also tempted to forego the heart and just do a grading. I think that could be really pretty too. Oh, I've got to scroll so I can see comments. Let's see. Gold frame on black. I was kind of thinking white because I want it to be kind of a really encouraging card. Huh. Vellum could be good. I like the idea of vellum, and then I'll die cut the grading on top, and that's where the adhesive can be. I like that idea. So if I do the smaller heart, I'm kind of thinking, maybe I'll do the thinking of you, sending hugs, but I also kind of want it to go past the edges. So yeah, I think I want to do the thinking of you. All right, let's cut this out of vellum. And you know what? Just yesterday, I put all my vellum in its own little storage pocket sleeve. I've been just using it straight out of the packaging for like over 10 years. That's how long I've had this vellum. But then I was like, Christina, you need to just put it in its own sleeve so I can save scraps. So here we are. I've got scraps. Some nice vellum. It's a nice heavyweight vellum. So I'll just cut this out for the heart. Okay. Okay, so it'll just be like a little shadow hint of the heart. And then let's stamp, emboss, and cut out the grading. Okay. Got to put this in my little vellum. My new vellum sleeve. Ta-da! Okay. I'm going to put this aside up here. Put my palette away. I'm going to move my Reinkers out of the way and do some stamping. Okay. Oh, where'd the cover for that go? Uh-huh. I have misplaced the plastic that goes on my stamp and stencil mat. Oh, just kidding, found it. There we go. Okay. I'm thinking just white. Yeah, I think I just want to stamp and emboss in gold on white. I'll do the thinking of you right there. And you know what? Since we were using that gold emboss or gold pigment ink before, I'll just use it again. It worked well. So why not? Okay, using the Lisa Horton solid gold. Okay, let's get some gold embossing powder on this. Lovely. All right, and then I'm thinking I do kind of want a sub grading. And on the stamp set, I put sending hugs right below the thinking of you. I think that's a pretty good pairing. So let's try that. Carrie, I'm not sure. I'd have to compare them, but I'm afraid my Altenew ink pad is very, very old, and I don't know that I would get the best results from it. Okay, so we got the sending hugs. So I'm thinking, let's see this. Let's die cut this and see what the spacing's like, because maybe I don't want the sending hugs. Let's test this out first. Okay, like I mentioned earlier, the dies on the packaging, they now have the phrases. Isn't that great? So now I know which one I need to grab. So thinking of you right here. Ta-da! So that I can just cut this out. Run that through my die cutting machine. Okay. All right, so if we have this, then it has a little heart and it's got the thinking of you on it. Oh, maybe I don't need a subgrading. Do I? I don't know if I do. Let's stamp and heat emboss one just to be safe, because I like the idea of having the subgrading, but no, I don't have to do it. Let's do this one more time. We'll do the sending hugs. Okay. You know what? Maybe I'll just do it along this edge, and that I don't have to worry about cutting the other side. Well, I'll probably still have to cut it. Never mind. We'll just do that. Stay there. Okay. Anti-static powder. Same pigment ink. The gold. Stamped twice, very gently. Close that up so I can safely use my embossing powder. Okay. All right, have that gold for sending hugs. Let's use a little tiny trimmer just to trim this out. And I'm going to do a Jennifer McGuire trick where she uses a Post-it to line up where she wants to cut. And that just helps you envision where you need to cut. So I can just line that up. Actually, you know what? I need to cut this edge first because it'll be a whole lot easier. Okay. Now I can line this up. Okay. Oh yeah, so much easier. Get that perfectly lined up. still use that same Post-it, and I'm going to get it lined up on this edge. It just really helps you envision where you need to cut it. Now, if you've got like dies, like in my Essentials dies, there's one that will cut a similar width, but this is actually a little skinnier than that. There we go. I even got a little bit of that Post-it. That's how close it is. Okay. All right, so then I'll just... Okay, so now let's decide if we want to have that secondary greeting. Oh, I kind of like it. I could even have it kind of glued directly down onto the vellum and have this one popped up a little bit. Trying to decide. I think I like it. All right, so let's put the card together. Grabbing a 5x7 card base. And I'm going to just adhere this one directly down on, and then I can do the frame around it. So, got my Tombow Extreme adhesive. It's super sticky. Anyone in the chat, do you guys use this Tombow Extreme adhesive? I swear I never see anyone else use it, and I'm afraid they're gonna discontinue it. Okay, let's make sure this is opening the right way. Oh, I've got the hiccups. Okay, here we go. All right, and then I'm going to take my glue, wherever it walked off to, right over here. And I'm putting a very, very thin line of glue right along the outer edge of this die cut rectangle. And then I don't have to worry about the glue, like putting the glue on the frame, because it's already there. Okay. And this was just cut out of some matte gold cardstock from Concord and 9th. There we go. Nice gold frame. I'm going to go ahead and adhere these two where they need to be, and then I'll put adhesive on the back, and then no vellum, like no adhesive will show through the vellum. Okay, so this I kind of want stacked. I wonder if I should just die cut the greeting a little bit, like a few more times. That's not a bad idea. And I do have that white cardstock left over, don't I? I could probably die cut it a few times out of this, so let's try it. Because then I can just stack them. And I don't have to worry about foam adhesive. Ooh, I might only get 2 out of this, actually. Stack this up. Oh, Karina uses the Tombow Extreme. She says she loves it. It's so good. It's just so strong. I mean, I do have to warn you, you know, like, be confident in where you're placing things, because you really can't pick it back up. I just saw a comment from one of you saying that you like the wiggle room, so you don't want something so strong. You know, I don't have cards fall apart, though. Okay. I think that'll be good. With the stamped greeting, that'll be 4 layers. I think that'll be perfect. Just getting the dies and set back in its little storage pocket. Lovely. All right, so now I can just stack these, which should be fairly easy with my tweezers. Just put some little dabs of glue. Some little squiggles. Okay. Then I grab my finished die cut and I can just stack them like this. And the liquid glue is still wet, so then I can wiggle them together. Lovely. All right, and then this one's going to go right there. But I wanted the sending hugs to be kind of right at the bottom there. So I'm going to put just a little line of glue right there. Use my grid mat to get that straight. And I can put this on. Try to get it as straight as possible. Okay. Then I can put a little bit of glue on the back of this one. All right, and then I could even have it maybe tipped up just a little bit. I like that, where it's just a little skewed. All right, just holding that down until it really starts to stick. Lori Olson is asking about my cat pillow that's behind me. She's talking about that one. It's a Squishmallow, and I got it years ago. My mom got it for me. It is the Tally, like it's a cat named Tally. And I want to say she found it online somewhere. She may have even bought it on eBay. But I think they still sell that one. It's one of the big ones. I think it's like the 24-inch or something like that. Okay, so now I have my little heart. It's pretty solid. So I can put adhesive on the back, but only where my white die cuts are. And then I'll have no adhesive showing. I cannot get my glue back open. There we go. Okay, so now I'm only adding little dabs of glue behind where I have my white. And then I could put this directly down. In fact, I might even squidge it down just a little bit. And I'm going to put my acrylic block on top just to help it dry flat. And that finishes the card for today. Just over an hour. That's so good. You guys, we flew through this. Okay. All right. So I will have an edited replay for this up tomorrow. Hopefully I can get it done really quickly. All right. That's probably enough. All right. So let's look at that color inspiration. Which it started out like that, but kind of veered in a different direction. Started with it, but you know what? That's just sometimes how it goes. All right, so I'm going to do a quick spiel for those watching the edited replay, and then we'll come back and we'll chat for a minute. Okay, so here is the finished card for today. The color inspiration was much more dusty, much more muted, but I really like where this ended up. I think it was a really fun journey. It was a really great way to kind of start with some color inspiration and then see where it takes you. I think it worked really well. Just a reminder, I used the Easy Repeat Stitched Vines background, and I also used the Simple Nested Hearts dies. That's where this heart comes from. And then the greetings are from the Everything Will Be Okay bundle, the stamps and dies. I also used, oh, this is coming up right here. I also used my, I think this was the A7 thin frames, the smaller frame that's in the set, and distress Reinkers. So everything is listed down below in the video description in the supply list. And I hope you'll come back and see the holiday card series, which starts on Friday, Black Friday, right, the day after Thanksgiving. I'm going to be doing 12 videos this year for the holiday card series, and I hope you'll come back and see where all the fun holiday card making is happening. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I will catch you guys next time. Okay. Yes, Andrea is saying in the chat that Tally comes in other sizes. She does. She even comes in like a small little keychain size, I swear. Okay, I'm back. Hi. Okay, so if you have questions or comments, feel like I haven't talked to you guys in ages because it's been so long. So if you had a question earlier that I totally missed, please let me know. First of all, did the scratchy mic problem resolve, or did it just start up again? I moved to the mic. It's now right here. I moved to the mic. Is that better? Let me know. Okay. Did I also order the digital color cubes? I did. And as far as I know, they're not done yet. Like, they're in the process of finishing them. And once you have, well, maybe you can redo it if you haven't bought them already, but you can sign up for a notification or a newsletter. So it'll let you know when it's available. Oh, good. The mic has been resolved. Yeah, I think it's just brushing against it. So I need to like put it in a different spot. Yeah, I think that's all it was. Okay. Okay, let's see. I'm scrolling up to see if there's any other questions. Carrie's saying, would you please go over the October ornament stencil pack layers quickly? I need to number them. I just can't figure out the order. Well, you really can do them in whatever order you want because none of the layers are overlapping except the snowflakes. The snowflakes you do very last. The rest of the stencils can be in whatever order you want. Let me see, do I have an example of that somewhere? Let me grab this. And you guys are going to see my messy stash behind me that's usually hidden from view. Okay, hold on. I think I have one here. No? What? I thought I did. Okay, well, I don't. I thought I had an example of the ornaments, but I guess I don't. Yeah, so you could do them in any order because you have, is there a background with that? I don't think there's even a background. You just have the 4 ornament colors and then the snowflakes that go on the center of the ornaments and the tops of the ornaments themselves, like that layer. That just has to be last. Okay. Scrolling up, scrolling up. Oh, good. Andrea found Tally the Squishmallow. Okay. Lots of talks of adhesives. Really good suggestions from all of you for adhesives. Is Concord and Knight doing a Black Friday sale? Yes, they are. And I want to say they had more details on their Instagram. And I think they plan to send out a newsletter Wednesday night with more info as well. I do know that they are putting their whole color collection, so their inks and their papers are going to be on discount, but only for the 9 o'clock Mountain Time hour. And that's because I think she's announced this. I don't know. Jennifer McGuire is going live like all day on Black Friday and also on Saturday. And on Friday from 9 to 10 a.m. Mountain is when the Concord and 9th hour is. I will have an hour for my line the next hour at 10. And I have to give you guys like a really good little, like, you want to tune in, because there is a special stamp and die bundle that's coming out in December that we are offering all of those Jennifer McGuire Inc. Black Friday live stream viewers. So you will be able to purchase that bundle early, and you'll see me and Jennifer use it. And it is a stamp and die combo that Jennifer and I came up with together when I was visiting her in September. So it's very Jennifer McGuire coded. It's very much her style and her style of stamping and putting things together and like layering and stuff. So I think you'll really love it. So that's this Friday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 12 noon Eastern. Those are the two time zones if you need to figure out from there. And it will be on her YouTube channel. Okay, I'm scrolling down. Do I have or will I be getting the new color cubes? Yes. In fact, I use the new color cube 3 today. That's where that color combo is from. And I have all 4, but I've really only used this one from the third cube. So this is the first one. Okay. Okay. Scrolling down. I'm glad the mic issue was figured out. Will my Christmas videos be lives at this time? Yes, they will be on Mondays at 6. On Wednesdays and Fridays, they will be pre-recorded videos. I can't guarantee what time they're going to go up, but I'm going to aim for 9 a.m. every day, but we'll see. Like on Wednesdays and Fridays, 9 a.m. on Mondays and also Tuesdays, I guess, because I'm going to edit the Monday Night Live. I'll edit that down, and so that'll go up on Tuesday morning. Let's see. Laura's asking about nail polish. She says, I'm changing my Dazzle dry color tonight. What color are you wearing? It's time for me to do my reds. This is Apple of My Eye. It's a good one. It has a little bit of a shimmer to it. This is the tail end of my manicure wearing. It's losing some of its glossiness. So I've got to repaint my nails soon. And my nails are really long right now. And they're growing like weeds. Oh, I just read the rest of your comment. Look at that pretty length. Knowing you'll probably say you need to cut them down. Well, right now, if they're at an okay length, I can still craft with them. But I think if they get much longer than this, I'll have a problem. So we'll see. Okay. Carrie says, somehow I ended up with 2 ornaments of the same color next to each other. Did you do 2 layers the same color? That's the only way I think that could happen, but I could be wrong. Let's see. Maybe he took the ornament sales for the remodel. You know what? At this rate, maybe. Let's see here. Will watercolor masking medium work with alcohol markers? I don't know. I don't know that I've ever tried to do anything that way. I don't know. That's a good question. I kind of think maybe the alcohol ink would seep underneath it, but I could be wrong. Sounds like you should experiment. Okay. Oh, Jennifer was live today. She wouldn't divulge any secrets. Well, sorry, I just blew that out of the water. I didn't realize she was live today. I was so busy. I was doing computer work all day. So I totally missed it. So no wonder you guys are like, what's with all the henna? Because you saw Jennifer's today too. Okay. Arletta says, I have the OCC Christmas kit from last year, but still haven't done the class or purchase. I didn't purchase this year's kit. Would last year's kit be worth using with this year's class? I think there's a lot of different imagery between the two. I wanted to make sure I wasn't repeating anything. I don't know. You could purchase the class and try to pull from your own stash and maybe even use last year's kit see what happens. And then after the fact, you could decide later that you want to buy this year's kit. I mean, I don't think you're out anything if you do that. Okay. Are you sure you didn't have any stencil face down? That's a good point. Like, make sure all of the etching that's at the bottom of the stencil, make sure that's like the right way to read it, like it's face up. Did I ever figure out what was causing my camera shake? I didn't. I mean, the only thing I think of is it's got to be something like nearby locally that was causing like the rumbling. It was at really weird times. It was like during the day, but then also at night, and it was just weird. You guys are going to see it in the day one of the holiday card series, because I was filming that with my members yesterday, and I kept looking up into my monitor and my camera was shaking. And there was like nothing happening at my house. I couldn't figure out what it was. And it wasn't shaking tonight, so I have no clue. I didn't say anything that Jennifer didn't say. Okay, good. This year's kit is available. It had a brief out of stock moment, but everything's back, so it is available. Let's see. Oh, Stephanie, thank you. Stephanie says, purchase this year's kit. It's worth it. I think so. There's lots you could do with it, and there's so many cards. Not only in the class itself, but also when you join the Facebook group, you can see what other people are creating. And there were so many different cards. Amazing. Kitties have the zoomies. Well, I wish it was that, but the camera is attached to my ceiling and the cats were downstairs, so I don't know how that would have worked. Too funny. Fracking? Well, I certainly hope it's not like mining or something, because Kennecott Copper Mine is really, really far away from me. That's all they could think of, but no, I don't think so. Gremlins. That's probably the best answer. I love it. Oh, Penny says, I'm getting the color cubes for Christmas for my kids. OCC 25 was fabulous. Well, thank you. And yes, the color cubes will be such a good addition to your crafting. Carrie says, this was my first OCC. I was in bed with my back, so I haven't had a chance to watch the classes and make the cards yet. You know what? Get a head start on next year's Christmas cards. In fact, okay, I have to back up. I started cleaning my craft room yesterday. Obviously, I didn't get very far. But while I was doing that, I was like grabbing all my holiday cards I've made that were in like different areas of my craft room and consolidating them. And I have a total of 70 cards already made for this year. I don't even know how that happened. I have 70 cards made for this year, but I don't have 70, I have 60, because I realized I had exactly half. So I need to make another 60 cards probably in the next like 3 weeks. So once I get into the holiday card series, I think I've got like days 1 and 3 filmed. Day 2 will be live. So day 2, I am going to have to do like 4 to 6 to 8 of the same card. I've got to get like multiples. I need multiples. So for the rest of the holiday card series, I'm going to have to do multiples, at least until like day 6 or something. It's like, or maybe even 8, because I need so many cards. But I also have like this handy dandy, I'll show you this. And you guys have seen this in a previous live, or some of it. But so last year's holiday release, I had so many die cuts like ready to go. So I could just pull these out and just start putting them on things. And then same with this. This was the poinsettia stamp set from last year. I have all these elements that were left over that I never used. So I think I could probably get quite a few cards out of this, just using these and just glue them on some card bases. Maybe I'll do a bunch of embossed backgrounds and then just create a bunch of cards. I've got to have at least 10 to 15 cards out of that stash. So I don't know when I'm going to use those, when I'm going to make them, but I've got them ready to go. Okay, let's see. Andrea says, I'm in a similar holiday card predicament. I've been dealing with Mama in the hospital the past few days. Oh no, I hope she's on the road to recovery. Thankfully, she's home now, so back to work. Good. I'm glad to hear that she's doing better. and that you can get back to crafting. But yes, get those holiday cards. Well, because I like to have mine sent out by no later than a week before Christmas. So that would be, oh my gosh, that's going to be so fast. It's going to be here before we know it. Ooh, Betsy says, yes, use all those bits for easy cards. Spread them out on a tray so they're handy. Yes. I think I like the idea of just doing embossed backgrounds. So I think I'm just going to do some like polka dot emboss, some stripes, like really simple patterns so it's not going to clash with anything. And then just start slapping those die cuts on. I think it's going to be great. And, yes, in a tray. I think that's all laid out. I think it's going to be perfect. Okay. All right, I think I need to wrap this up. I think my husband wants to come up and work on my craft room sink, so I don't want to prevent that from happening because we all know I love my craft room sink and I want it back. Okay, all right, thanks so much for joining me tonight. I will be back on Friday with day 1 of the holiday card series, followed by Monday at my usual time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, for day 2, and then so on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, through the Monday before Christmas. So I hope you'll come back and join me. And I will see you all very, very soon. Have a happy Thanksgiving if you're celebrating this week, and I will see you on Friday. Thanks for watching.